Good evening folks, I'll apologise in advance. This is a rant video, but it's a video I think I really must do just to get it out of my system and vent. So yeah, apologies if you're not into that kind of thing. But if you're watching this video, you're probably a bit like me, you're probably an electronics hobbyist or enthusiast. And you like to use YouTube to expand your knowledge or maybe learn something new. Or maybe if you've watched one of my other videos, learn how not to do something. But no, YouTube's fantastic, isn't it? You've got lots of people in the big YouTube community with lots of skill sets, lots of experience, lots of ways of passing that experience on, different ways of getting that information to you, and different presentation styles and stuff. And of course that's a brilliant thing, that diversity of YouTube and the fact that it's a fantastic resource, and in my opinion it's the best resource we've got as human beings, is things like Wikipedia and YouTube, because if you need to find something out, you can go on there, search for what you want to find information out, and 99% of the time somebody's done a video on it. I'm into electronics, my eldest is into electronics, and if there's something I don't fully understand or want to brush up on, I can go and refresh my knowledge on YouTube and then explain it to him a bit better. And how good is that? It's free as well, obviously, by the cost of your internet service provider, but it's a fantastic free resource. But lately I've been seeing electronics blogs. I'm not going to mention channel names or individuals' names, but you might know who I'm talking about when I talk about what I'm going to talk about. But yeah, essentially there's people on there complaining about low cost test equipment and other sort of tools, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I'm not going to argue that. Here in the UK we've got relative freedom of speech, and various other countries you've got that, and everybody's entitled to their opinion. It would be a really boring world if everybody agreed with everybody else. That's debate and stuff like that's obviously healthy, and it gets things done. It makes change, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. But anyway, yeah, I digress. We're talking about this sort of stuff, multimeters. These are cheap multimeters, okay? This is a VC97, the old Fluke 17B clone, and this is a Velman or Velaman, multimeter I got from Maplin's years ago. They're built to cost. They're cheap, of course they're cheap, but there's a market for them. The market for these is us. It's the hobbyists. It's the people messing around in their garages and workshops and sheds, tinkering with electronics, building crappy little 50p Chinese electronics kits from AliExpress, or fixing the odd TV, or installing a car stereo, or just tracing some. This has got a market. These have got a market. If you are an engineer, if you're an engineer in electrical engineering or electronic engineering, and that is your primary job, of course you're going to have precision tools. You're going to be properly equipped to do the job that you're paid to do. You're going to adhere to all the regulations and guidelines and quality assurance type stuff that your profession's governing body lay down. If you're working for a company, they will provide you with the best of tools for you to do your job, because as a company you've got a reputation to maintain. Now if you've got a business or something that requires a maintenance engineer to come out, you're gonna hire somebody or get somebody in to do that maintenance from a company that's been recommended, somebody that you know and can trust, somebody that that's going to have good engineers with good equipment, and they'll be able to get your business back up and running in the minimum time, so you can make your money. They're not going to phone Chris up and say, oh well, he's got a multimeter and a set of screwdrivers, can you pop down and have a look at this 10 megawatt generator or something? Of course they're not. They're going to have proper tools to do the job. So people comparing these types of multimeters to £300 or £400 Fluke multimeters, or even more expensive than that, it's just totally unfounded. Now, if I've got my bench power supply hooked up just with 5 volts, and I picked 5 volts because that's pretty common voltage, you know, for electronics projects. You know, maybe 3.3 if you're talking about Arduino stuff and stuff like that. But you know, 5 volts, you know, a lot of projects will do. So 5 volts on the bench power supply, and my meter is returning 5.02 on this one. And if we unplug the leads and put them into this other one, 4.98. Okay, so the power supply's outputting 5, that's 0.02 over, that's 0.0203 under. So an average is, that power supply is supplying 5 volts, if it's just an average between these two. Is 0.02 of a volt going to make a difference to your crappy LED flashing heart project, or you know, whatever? Of course it's not. It's not going to, you know, 5 volts is 5 volts. You know, if it's 0.02 over, or if it's 0.1 of a volt over, it's not going to make a difference to you as an electronics hobbyist. Your LED flashing heart will flash away to its little heart's content, pardon the pun. You know, it's not going to make any difference. So how can another electronics blogger compare a 15 quid cheap crap Chinese multimeter to a £400 or £500 fluke? I mean, you just can't. Of course, this might not have the best input protection. It might not be as accurate, you know, to however many decimal places. It might not have a really brilliant refresh rate on the input, but it will do the job. And as a hobbyist, that's what you want. You want something that's going to give you a relatively accurate guideline to what you're looking for. You know, and these cheap meters do that. I mean, this, let's say this is 15 quid. Well, what do you get for 15 quid? You get a multimeter that does voltage, you know, resistance, continuity, diode tests, capacitance in a limited range, albeit, frequency, temperature, you know, transistor tester. You know, it does everything you need as a hobbyist. Yeah, of course it's not going to be as good as a £500 fluke. I mean, that's just stupid, but you can't compare them. And slagging the cheap ones off because of the lack of input protection or something like that, well, you know, how can you? If you're going to be stupid enough to use something like this, I mean, this set claims to be up to 1000 volts DC. If you're going to be stupid enough to use a meter on a high current, you know, high voltage piece of equipment, then to be quite frank, you bloody deserve to get an electric shocker for your meter to blow up. I mean, it's just stupidity. It really grips me. It really grips me. Now, power supplies as well. Okay, so we've just shown you that my cheapo 10 mAh power supply, bench power supply, it's capable of 30 volts at 3 amps, so it's absolutely perfect for my needs. You know, it was 40 quid from CPC or 50 quid from CPC, and it does the job perfectly every day of the week. I use it and it works, you know. And if it does fail, then I just buy another one off the shelf. How can you compare that to a £4,000, you know, Lambda, you know, TDK Lambda power supply? You can obviously compare it in terms of build quality and, you know, accuracy. But again, when we're talking down to 0.02 of a volt, as a hobbyist, do we care about that? Of course we don't. That's within my budget, not the £4,000 one, I should say. But you know, the 10 was within my budget. It does for me, and I've never had a problem with it. It's done everything I've thrown at it. Oscilloscopes. Again, why are you going to spend thousands and thousands of pounds on an Agilent or a Tektronix, when a Handtech, you know, you can get off eBay for 180 quid will do the job for you, the hobbyist. You just cannot compare them, and there's a number of people out there that do, and it really annoys me that us as hobbyists, we buy this equipment because it's affordable to meet our needs as a hobbyist, and that's the key word, hobbyist. We're not professionals. Some of us might be, of course, Um, but we do it as a hobby. It's a bit of fun for us, and basic tools or basic test equipment, suffices. It certainly does for me. I hope it does for you, and it should do for you. Of course, if you've got thousands and thousands of pounds to spare, then I'm not going to stop you. I'm not suggesting, well, if you've got all that money, just save it and buy a cheaper one. If you've got that money and it's free, it's spare money, and you're not going to miss it, then of course buy the best you can afford. Anything you buy is an investment when it comes to a hobby, whatever hobby that is. Anything you spend's an investment. So buy the best you can afford, I think, is the key thing I'm trying to say. But yeah, don't try and compare it. In some of these blogs, it's so easy to say that, an Agilent scope's better than a Handtech when, Agilent's, shipping you the latest model free of charge. If Agilent would like to send me one of their super duper oscilloscopes, or if Fluke would like to send me the latest multimeter, of course I'll say it's better than a cheaper one, because on paper it is, But it's not. We're hobbyists. I keep coming back to it. We're hobbyists. We buy cheap but functional tools that allow us to enjoy our hobbies, within our budget. Buy what you can afford, look after it, and if you want something a bit more expensive, then of course look on eBay. You can get bargains on eBay, as you've seen in some other videos. Not test equipment, but these are, 80, £85 wire strippers. I paid a couple of quid for them just because they weren't listed correctly. When it comes to tools, and it's something I'm not a comparison, but talking about tools, or hand tools, I mean, these Weir micro precision screwdrivers were expensive. They were, £35 or £40. They come in a nice case. I always make sure, because they were expensive, always make sure I put them back in the case and look after them. And they're super duper quality. Why would you get into Maplin's and spend a £5 on a set of crappy Rolson screwdrivers that are going to last, 6 months if you're lucky? On stuff like that, yeah, that's worth an investment. Spending a little bit of money on some screwdrivers and basic hand tools is always an investment. Those will last me years and years and years if I look after them. So that's one side of thing where I think, spending a bit more is worth it. But again, come back to my point, we're hobbyists. Buy what you can afford, allow those tools to help sort of facilitate your enjoyment of your hobby, and of course be safe. Don't do anything stupid. If you're going to be doing, that you'd really be doing high voltage stuff, but you'd want proper tools and safe tools for doing high voltage stuff and high current. But for the 5 volt, LED flashing kits and a bit of fault finding on a TV, something like this, 15 quid off eBay is going to do you just fine. Anyway, that's my rant over. If you've got any comments, and I do appreciate your comments, if you've got something positive or negative to say, like I say, it'd be a not a very nice world if we all agreed. A bit of debate is good, so please put your honest description or honest comments down below there. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and please subscribe. And hopefully my next video will not be a rant video. I suppose that's it really. Take care guys, and I'll see you soon for another video. Oh, and if you are Fluke or Agilent or Tektronix, please send me some stuff and I'll say it's really good. Take care guys, bye bye.